Hi, I'm Karissa, and I am an OK housewife.
Hi, I'm Dacia, and I'm also an OK housewife.
And today we're going to just be talking about some of the, what would you say, social norms in
Mhm.
movies
Yeah.
that we've come across
From
recently.
from 90s, early 2000s to now.
Yeah, I've been even watching some movies with my kids that are even older than that,
Mhm.
and it has been shocking. Some of the things that you witness in these movies that you're just like, what is that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so tell me about yours.
Yeah, so, like I've said before, we have 2 boys, 13 and 9, and our 13-year-old, a huge movie buff, like, that's all he wants to do is watch movies, and so we've been watching older movies, and, so we picked last weekend we picked Talladega Nights,
Oh
which
my gosh.
also appropriateness. But our 9-year-old doesn't really watch them very much, so it's really just 13, and it's PG-13, so,
So
like
it's okay,
yeah.
relatively.
But PG-13 in the 90s is
Is different.
is like R.
It totally is. Now, yeah, what was the tiger's name in that one? Do you remember in Talladega Nights?
The tiger?
That's what I always remember. It's like there was a cat. There was yeah, in the car.
Oh, he puts
Was her name
the
Karen?
no, they don't say his name, but he, like, yells at her and calls her Karen, but it's a very small clip.
Oh, okay. That's all I remember from that movie, but I think it's
I mean, it's
hilarious.
hilarious, but
Yes.
so when we were watching it, they're making fun of the new French driver that they bring in. And
Yes.
the main storyline with him is that he's gay.
Oh,
And they are just
I
like
forgot about
they're
that.
like when him and his husband kiss, like they act like they're throwing up and they're like, that's not American. And I
Wow.
mean, both of the boys were like, and I was like, we'll talk about this later.
Right.
And so there's like that. And then last night we watched Major Payne from the 90s with Damon Wayans.
Mhm.
And it's just like very like mean to the kids, like rough.
Yeah.
But then like as one of their punishments is he makes the boys get into dresses and like they have to like march around the campus like saying they're sissies and
Really?
yes. And so I just like Toby and I were talking and I was like, I mean, this wouldn't have ever even made it past the studio
No.
nowadays.
No.
And I was like, I'm not saying I want to go back to that completely,
Right.
but it was a bit of a fresh air where people felt like they could joke and people could maybe, it wasn't like they're like like making fun of transgender people, but they were just, it's like they're poking fun. I know everybody's going to be on this like across the spectrum on how they feel about all these things.
Right, right.
But the bottom line is it's just that I felt like people could actually joke before without fear of being canceled or
Y
whatnot.
yeah, like, the freedom of speech was there more
Yes.
back then.
Yes.
Yeah, freedom of everything, really.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe that was just from the whole movement of the '70s, just like, "Hey, you do you, man,
Yeah.
and I'll do me." I don't know why that was okay, because I mean, there's a lot of things in movies from way back that you would think people would not be okay with just from the religious standpoint,
1000%.
where you'd just be like, "Oh my gosh, like, no wonder my grandma was flipping out when these movies were coming out."
1000, yeah.
Yeah, and now, I mean, you would think things are worse in some perspectives,
For sure.
but at the same time, I think we definitely are more cautious of what we put out there.
Yes.
I mean, not on, like, the gore, scary stuff.
Is
That's definitely gotten worse.
Well, that's okay, so I think that's what I don't get, is
Uh-huh.
that, like, we as a society are okay with, like and no judgment. My kids play Roblox, my kids play Fortnite. I'm not judging. Every parent does what they,
Want
deem
Yeah,
best possible.
yeah.
But, like, there have been times I've walked in on these games that are perfectly innocent,
Uh-huh,
in quotes,
uh-huh.
and they're blowing up somebody.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're just completely desensitized to it. And
Yes.
movies are rated PG where people are dying, like, people are just being killed.
Yeah.
So, it's like we're not protecting their brains on that, but God forbid
Right.
somebody be, misconstrued or offended if we
Right.
use the wrong pronoun
Exactly.
on a
Yes.
movie or whatnot. It's like we gotta come somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere, yeah, everybody needs to come across the bridge a little bit. We meet in the middle. And that's what kind of happens sometimes. It seems like the pendulum swings
Yes.
really far one side, and then everybody freaks out, and then we got to swing it back,
Right.
and it just needs to. Maybe that was the thing with the 90s. Maybe the 90s, that was the middle,
Yeah.
you
No, it
know?
totally could be, yeah.
That was like the middle for everybody where it was like, "Hey, we're just doing us over here. We think it's funny when you put kids in dresses as a punishment." You know? Like,
Yeah, and it was just, I truly think, like, there was never that wasn't an attack on anybody. It
no.
was supposed to be funny.
It was totally funny. It
I
was
mean,
innocent. It
in
was
high
like,
school, that
yeah,
was
we would auction off guys dressing up as girls.
yes.
Yes, we did other
I mean,
things.
now we would have been on national news.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
which they were.
which they
Our
were.
high school was on national news.
Yes, they were.
Yeah,
Um,
for sucking toes.
which honestly, I literally when I read that, I thought, uh-huh. Yeah.
That sounds totally like, what do we
Stuff.
call it? What was the week?
Oh, it was a wonderful week of fundraising.
WWF.
Yep.
Yeah. That was something that we would do. If someone did that when we were in high school in the early 2000s, no one would bat an eye.
No, it would have raised so much
They would have been
money.
like, "Oh, that's absolutely disgusting. I can't believe they sucked a teacher's toes."
Yeah.
Like,
And
gross.
the teacher got fired or
Yeah.
let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So, I don't know what the answer is, but yeah, some of these movies are just like you sit there and you watch them and you're like, "Whoa,
Mhm.
this is not how we do things today."
Correct.
And I mean, my girls are 6 and 8 and we've been watching The Parent Trap.
Oh, so
Like,
good. We love the
so
Parent
cute,
Trap.
right?
The one with Lindsay Lohan?
No, the
Oh, the
OG.
original.
The
Okay.
original. Yes. Was it like Haley Mills? Is
Yes.
that right?
Yeah.
Okay. That movie, if you remember, that was such a big deal because that was like the first time they did like double screens or
Right.
whatever
She
with
played both
she
roles.
played both roles. So that was a really big deal. But like, so the real mom comes to the ranch and she's got the dad's bathrobe on
Mhm.
because like
They've
they're there with the minister.
yeah.
She's got the bathrobe on, which is a statement in itself. And then the dad and her start arguing, and she punches him in the face while they're arguing.
Mm.
And I mean, they're like, they go from 0 to 1,000
Right.
in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And like my little girls, Kevin and I have disagreements, but we've never fought
No.
like that,
No.
and especially not in front of them.
Right.
Like they've seen us argue in the car about like
You're
directions.
but we're not, like, punching each other.
No, she legit punches him in the face and gives him a black eye
Oh my.
in the movie. And I like stopped and I go, "Girls, that is not okay. That is abuse.
Yeah.
We do not punch people, especially when you're married to them.
Right.
Like punching is self-defense, if that,
Yeah,
right?"
if that. And yes.
So I was really taken aback by that from that movie. And then really the only one that, I mean, we watched The Sound of Music
I haven't
too.
seen that since
You
gosh.
haven't?
Well, I mean, since I was little.
Which that one probably is like the most innocent,
Yeah.
I'd say,
Yeah.
except for you kind of have to explain why they're running.
Right.
And that's scary.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. So that was something that I think I've noticed in all the movies we watch. The undertones of so much are so I can remember watching movies and like I remember my parents letting me watch Schindler's List.
Oh, God.
I mean at 10.
Wow. That's intense.
I mean,
That's
Yes, and as a almost 40-year-old,
yeah,
their visions of that movie are
still stick
still
with you.
yes. I
Yes.
wouldn't wanna watch it as a 40-year-old.
Right.
Um, but it's so shocking to me the things that because my kids make fun of Nana and Papa, my parents, because we were raised Pentecostal, so, like, we weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween,
Same.
all these things,
Mhm.
but yet
You could watch Schindler's
Robert
List.
Robert and Deborah had absolutely no
No
problems
problem with movies.
showing us a movie called China Cry once when I
What?
was 8. 8 years old,
Never
and they
even
took
heard of
us to
this.
no, for right reason. It was a Christian film, and it was about a woman in communist China who missionaries had gotten to her, and she came out as, like, a strong Christian, and she was pregnant in the movie, and they would beat her close to death.
Oh
They
my
put her in
gosh.
the end of the movie is them putting her in front of a firing squad, and basically, like, the Lord, like,
Intervened.
yes, like, blinding them in type of thing. I had nightmares for years. I'm talking actual mental
I
scars.
I believe you. Like, what was the thought process
The
there?
thought process was you stand up for Christianity at all costs at 8, apparently. And
I mean, can you imagine taking your child right now? Like, if I took Betty to that, she would lose her mind.
I would have to, like, put Tuck Sawyer into, like, intense therapy. He
Seriously.
would be having panic attacks nonstop.
Yes. Yeah, Betty is so sheltered that I I don't know that she's ever even actually seen on screen someone get shot.
No, and that is another thing that's very interesting. So it's like they do play these games, and, like, so with Fortnite, like, when they kill somebody, like, they just disappear. So
Okay.
there's no, like, gore. That was, like, our compromise because there
Right.
were guns, which we're not anti-gun, but I am anti-children with guns.
Yes, for
Um,
sure. Yes.
and so that was kind of our compromise that they just disappear. There wasn't gore, any of that.
Right.
Well, I didn't think about that. I can't remember what movie it was. And it was such a simple scene. And Sawyer was watching it with us. And he was up. So he had these string of panic attacks probably 2 years ago. And it was a movie and he had gotten shot, but it was like a comedy movie. Like, so it was so insignificant.
Right. Think
We
about
didn't
it.
even clock it.
Yeah.
And he started throwing up,
Are you kidding me?
intense, like, shaking, didn't sleep all night. I mean, severe panic attack.
Wow.
And so what that tells me
Right.
is that I just am like the things that we're exposing them to, it's like there's a part where we're shielding them maybe a little too much in one area, but we're giving them the world in another, which I think I did read, like, that we don't let them actually live in real life,
Right.
but then we, like, give them the world on a screen,
Right.
you
Like,
know?
here, let me expose you to what it's really like. You
Right.
got to you got to find out from somebody
But yet I
else.
won't let you walk to the neighbor's house without me watching you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I just it's just very interesting to me. I'm like, man, this is such a social experiment.
Mhm.
And to be honest, our generation is the only generation that lived before social media, before the
Mhm.
internet,
Mhm.
and then now it's like a massive part of our lives. And I would love to see, in 50 years, think like studies that are done on our minds and, like,
Yeah. I worry about, like, how it impacts my children with me looking at my phone because I mean, I legit have had a phone in front of my face their entire life.
yeah.
If I wasn't taking a picture of them, I was looking at a text message.
Yep.
I I mean, probably on social media at sometimes too, like when they were like babies, you know what I mean? I wasn't as intense on it back then, but like definitely am now. If I'm on my phone, 90% of the time I'm on social media,
Yeah.
checking Instagram.
Which why could we not stop?
It's a dopamine
I mean, it totally
hit.
is. Like,
It's a dopamine. Yeah, it's a drug.
so our pastor this morning, the
Mm.
half of the sermon that we got, um,
The what
the
was it? The
stream,
feed.
the feed,
Yeah, the stream cut out.
yes. he was talking about priorities,
Yeah.
because we're going through the book of Exodus, and
Oh boy.
yeah, it's fun. Um, and it really did, like, we were talking I can't remember what he said, but it really did it was very it made me think about my time on my phone
Mhm.
because no matter what parameters I set up,
Yeah.
where my phone tells me I've hit my time limit, like I'm a child.
I've never done that.
Well, I've tried it and then I just pressed give me more time. So then I just took it off because I just kept
It's just
pressing it. It
pointless.
was
Just giving me
dumb.
more guilt.
Yes. But I'm like, but I also, on Sunday I send you your like screen time report, which is
Yes.
so
It's so humbling to
rude.
get that. Yes, to
I
where you're
want
just
to
like,
throw up.
I suck.
One time Toby was like, "Oh, my screen time was 30 minutes a day." And
And you're like,
I was like, "I'm going to burn my phone before you see what mine is."
no wonder my battery is dead half the
All the
time.
time. And it just keeps going up because I remember when it was like 3 hours and I was like, "Oh my god," and I
Yeah.
would give anything for it to be 3 hours, which how
I
pathetic.
know. I just think about like everything I could be doing, like
I
for
feel
my brain. I
Oh,
could be reading, which I am notorious for not reading consistently. Like
right.
I can't, it's hard for me to finish books.
Right.
I'm a self-help junkie. I don't read for pleasure as some people
Mm.
do, right?
Yeah.
Which you do.
No. I read for pleasure, yes. I
Yeah.
like, I have a hard and fast rule, like, I will not read to make myself a better person. In in our book club, truly,
You have announced that out loud.
multiple times.
Why is that?
Because I enjoy reading, and
Okay.
that
You think that's the killer?
it is a killer. I've tried it. I've read not self-help, but, like, books to make myself a better person, whether it be Christianity-wise or mom-wise or whatever, and it takes all the joy out of
The
reading.
way that you said that with a straight face, like, I will not do anything to invest in myself.
Absolutely not.
It's
I
not
mean,
gonna happen.
not in reading.
Not
I
with
will in
reading.
other ways.
What other ways do you invest in yourself to
Well,
improve yourself?
I'm not prepared for that question. I plead the fifth.
Because, like, I come from a family where if you aren't investing in yourself, then you're wasting your time.
Mm.
That's how it's viewed with my family.
The Sanders family was not like that.
China doll,
Trying to cry.
trying to cry.
No, my parents just scared the living crap out of me. That's how, I mean, truly, that's really how they did parent. That's how Deb parented.
Seriously? She parented out of fear?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Really?
that feels fairly obvious. If you know me. If you're listening to this and you
Well,
know me, then you know that that's true.
I mean, a lot of that back in those early 90s days,
Fire and brimstone,
it
baby.
totally was, which is Invitation? Is that what it
The
was?
Witch's Invitation,
Which is
Carmen.
Invitation from Carmen. Like, we have major history with that because we used to play it over
I
and
just really
over.
hope we have some 90s Christians that are listening
I'm sure we
because,
do. I'm sure we do.
I mean,
Especially people that are from Oklahoma. Like, if you don't level with some of this stuff, then, like, did you really grow up in Oklahoma? Because
in the
this
90s
is
as a Christian,
yeah.
I mean, you have to.
But, like, even Katy Perry, she grew up and she's talked about that stuff before,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
she's talked about the Christian music and the stuff from back then. But, like, I don't ever remember fear being a core thing with my upbringing.
Mm.
I remember, like, thinking, like, "Hey, I don't wanna do that because that is bad,"
Mhm.
you know? But it was never like I was never afraid.
Oh,
Yeah.
I lived in fear.
And, like, that's actually, that's sad. That's
Uh-huh.
like that's like you don't want and you haven't done that with your boys.
No.
And I think about parenting these days, and it's so weird because, like, we were just talking about, we feel like they're kind of sheltered, right? Like,
Yeah.
especially our kids haven't seen these things. But, like, I've noticed kids seem to have more sleeping problems today than ever before.
1000%.
And it's like, okay, well, they're just handing over the iPads and they're on YouTube watching all this crap
Mhm.
at will,
Mhm.
right? And so it's just so weird because I feel like right now, even we have extremes. We've got parents who are like, nope, you're not
Yep.
watching this, doing that. And I mean, that's where I'm at, where my kids don't watch anything but cartoons,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I usually watch them with them. Um, But then we've got some parents who are just like, "Hey, here's the iPad. Be quiet."
Yeah.
And
Which, and I will say, I feel like most people are on the same page through 5th grade.
yes,
Similar pages, maybe a little different,
you would know
maybe,
better than I.
yeah, like a little bit. That's what and everybody I've talked to that like has a kid 8th grade and up.
Okay.
And 6th grade is really where you see I mean, it is
Major
a
shift.
massive shift.
Hormones, man.
Well, no, not the kids, the parents.
Oh,
Where you go from every parent that you're around, all your friends, all your kids, friends, parents, everyone, no screens, like no phones. Why would we give them a phone? That's crazy. They go to 6th grade, Tucker, in a class of 350 kids. In 6th grade,
mm-hmm.
was one of 5 who did not have a phone.
Wow.
5 kids.
Why do they say they need it?
It is, what if there's an emergency? Well, Karen, there were emergencies in the 90s and early 2000s.
How do we survive, Karen?
And that's the thing. I think that goes back to everything. We will rationalize
Anything.
We will find a way to justify.
Oh, yeah.
And the bottom line is, they don't need it. It's just easier to parent.
It is.
With it.
Yep. You're taking the easy road when you do it.
And here's it all. My kids get way too much screen time. I'll be the first one to tell you
Same.
that. 1000%. But the phone and social media is the hill that I will die on.
Same. Yeah.
Because as an almost 40-year-old woman, I cannot stop myself from scrolling.
Yeah.
How would I ever expect my 13-year-old son to be able to?
To be able to manage that.
And to be able to understand that, okay, that's not real life.
Yeah. Yeah. And to realize that he doesn't have to compete with that.
He's already competing
right
with the kids that he sees every day.
With what they're wearing, with what they're doing, all of the above.
Yes.
Yeah. It's on steroids when it's on social media. And yeah, I mean, have you ever given up social media for a certain amount of time?
Yeah, and I wanted to die. Which is pathetic. I'm saying that from like I felt so bored. I felt like I didn't know what to do with my time, which I am really convincing myself here that I need a detox in the worst of ways.
Because I typically will give it up for Lent.
Yes, and you're so good at that.
Well, I'm not good at it, but I mean, like, there have been times where I like hit it out of just like a natural habit.
Well, because it just becomes, I pick it up.
It's
I pick
part
it up.
of my brain.
Well, there's a thing that will tell you how many times you pick up your phone, which I don't want to turn that on.
I don't even know.
I mean, I've seen numbers and it's like, like 1,000 times.
Oh my gosh. That's pathetic.
That's easy. I see myself, I'll be driving and I'll just grab the phone.
I know.
And then I have to be
almost like I said, it's a part of my brain where it's like, if I'm not looking at it, I feel like my brain isn't at full capacity.
That's exactly right.
And why is that?
Oh, I mean, I think that's something we could talk about for a couple of hours.
Yeah. Well, my girls have called me out on it before.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
good.
like they've said, well, you look at your phone when you're driving, or they've said that, like, well, you saw this. And I'll be like, oh, I was looking on the map.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Newsflash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tucker's going to be driving in 2.5 years. Like, shoot me. I have been more aware of my phone in the car. Yeah. I've gotten a lot better because I'm like,
I can't have him thinking this is okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And Tucker, I really feel will have no problems. I mean, like I've said, New Sawyer.
It's those babies, right?
Yeah, we're gonna. I don't know if he's ever gonna drive.
I know. Like my baby she's much more adventurous than my firstborn.
Yep.
And she's just like, oh, hey, let me try it. Like, oh, I wonder what this will do.
For sure.
Yeah. And so
bubble wrap.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting. That's like another layer of just parenting in general right now.
Yeah.
Is just trying to constantly balance those things and try to, I don't know, like watch your own actions.
Yeah.
In the process.
Well, and that's something I'd like to hear feedback, from our listeners about. Like, what are things that you feel like you tiptoe around? Like, what are things
Yeah,
differently from the way that
from when you
you
were
raised?
raised. Yeah.
Because I feel like the things that maybe were important to my parents about raising me are so, I mean, they're worlds apart from what
Yeah.
I'm worried about with the boys.
Yeah, different
Um,
perspective now.
and the movies kind of brought that home in a way of like,
Yeah.
these are the things that we're worried about. We're not worried about offending somebody because we put a boy in a dress,
No.
when that seems to be something very high on the, charts right now.
Right now. Mhm.
Um, and so I just think that's very interesting, and to
Yeah.
hear kind of like, well, maybe that's just us. Maybe that's just like where we're at in Oklahoma versus everywhere. But I feel like there's a common denominator.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we'd love to hear what you guys think about that. So, like chime in on social media
For sure.
underneath this episode and let us know
Yeah,
because we'd be curious to see what everyone else is going through.
absolutely.
And once again, you're doing great.
Yes.
Everybody's doing great. We're all just trying to survive this together and just, come out with hopefully some good contributors to society,
Yes.
right?
Oh, absolutely.
Loving, kind people. So,
We'll do it.
thank you for listening, and we'd love to hear from you. Have a great one.